Well, let's bring in retired Lieutenant General Keith Kellogg, Center for American Security co-chairman. So, General, take a listen to Vladimir Putin's latest threat to dissidents, and I want to get you to react.
But any people, and even more so the Russian people, will always be able to distinguish true patriots from scum and traitors and simply spit them out like a fly that accidentally flew into the mouth. Spit them out. I am convinced that such a natural and necessary cleansing of society will only strengthen our country.
So, General, how should the West interpret these comments from Putin?
Yeah, Sean, thanks for having me. Look, those comments go back to Joseph Stalin or Adolf Hitler, one of the two, or both. And it seems to me that we are now facing, and the West is facing, an adversary in Vladimir Putin that is stretched a little bit. What I mean by stretched a little bit is clearly this is taking a toll on him. He is not winning the fight in Ukraine. He's actually losing this fight. And the longer Kyiv holds out and the longer these other cities hold out, and he kind of cannot accomplish his objectives, he knows he's losing. And he's losing not only his leadership role, but also his nation is losing because it's become a pariah nation. I mean, those words are strong. I don't recall ever hearing those words coming from his mouth. At least when the 4 years I was in the Trump administration, we never heard it when he was talking. I don't care if he was talking to President Trump or Angela Merkel or whoever he was talking to. So you're looking at somebody who's stretched a bit, and I think the pressure is getting to him, very candidly, Sean.
Yeah, and that's what concerns me, because when you back a guy like Putin into a corner, he has nuclear weapons. And so there has to be some delicate balance on, one, how do you push him back? But then how do you let him save face? How do you let him get out so he doesn't go and escalate and potentially use weapons that are destructive for the world?
Yeah, that's a great question. And as a good advisor, you have to think your way through this. Look, the way I'm looking at him right now is he's looking for an escape route. He may not be saying it, but I think he is. Right. And he's got a lot of pressures on him. And there's got to be a way to provide an interlocutor to him to give him a way to save face or back off. The trouble is there's nobody out there right now. Biden's not the individual because he doesn't like Biden. Biden doesn't like him. He doesn't work well with Olaf Scholz of Germany, nor does he do with Macron. Here's somebody what I do. I would actually reach out, Sean, to President Niinistö of Finland, who has actually played even hockey with him, who is an unaligned country, a Western country, and say, look, maybe you ought to reach out to this guy and figure out what's actually going on with him. The other thing I would do is if I was the president, I would make sure that General Milley had been picking up the phone and talking to his counterpart, Gerasimov.
Yes.
And Lloyd Austin is talking to his counterpart as well, and say, look, you guys are approaching almost I would call it much more than a red line. If you're thinking of using nuclear, chemical, or biological weapons, you're not just crossing a red line, you're crossing a bunch of red lines. Because their philosophy, their military philosophy, Sean, is to escalate to de-escalate. And in that philosophy is actually to use sub-kiloton nuclear weapons to do that. We don't have those kind of weapons. We got rid of those weapons in the 60s when we used to have a system called the Davy Crockett. We only have kiloton or megaton weapons. They've got weapons like that, and if they use something like that, he's crossed a nuclear threshold. The last time atomic or nuclear weapons were used was 1945. So somebody needs to get to this guy and tell him, hey, watch where you're going, and make sure his generals and his other leadership, and to include the oligarchs, understand this dangerous path that he's taking right now.
Yeah, and I think it's important, as you mentioned, to give him this off-ramp, but at the same time, I think it's important, the Biden administration announcing an additional $800 million in weapons aids to Ukraine. So, General, again, we have javelins and stingers, anti-armor systems, drones. Is this the right amount of weaponry, the right weaponry? Do you agree with what Biden is doing here with this military assistance?
Well, except I'd make sure we got the MiGs. There's 29 Polish MiGs. Those are fourth-generation fighters. Fifth generation means stealth. They're good fighters. But the other thing I do, I was bring in those missile batteries, those anti-aircraft missile batteries like the S-300, and create an iron dome over the western part of Ukraine at least. Protect the humanitarian routes, protect the bases that you've got there. The 3 countries have got the S-300 system. There are 5 top systems in the world, 2 Russian, 2 U.S., one happens to be Israeli. The S-500 is one of the top 5 systems in the world, and they're held by Slovakia, Bulgaria, as 2 of the NATO countries, and Greece as well. And let's get those, bring those in, then we don't have to use U.S. Patriots, which is another one of the top 5. put that dome over it, get them the jets that they need. I don't believe in a no-fly zone because you can do that with anti-aircraft capability, the missile systems, and go from there. But here's the other reason I like bringing the MiGs in very candidly, Sean, is this gives him more problems he's got to figure out how to deal with. What you want to do with an adversary is give him more problems than he can deal with at any one time. He's got enough problems. Let's add a couple more.
General Kellogg, it is a challenging time, and I appreciate you trying to make sense of it for us. Thank you.
Thanks, Sean.
All right.